Hey, good morning. It's Woody. Sunday. Just been out for a nice walk. It's nice and fresh today. Um, I was talking to a guy the other day who told me he was getting back pains, and he was also having a few problems with his waterworks. And he told me, yeah, he said, do you think it's anything like? We were just talking about because he knows I've got cancer, and I said, yes, you need to get to a doctor tomorrow. You need to get that sorted out. Okay, so I thought for this video, what I will do is go through the beginning of what happened to me, my story so far, if you like, in the hope that if it prevents one person that watches this video on YouTube from getting it, then it's worthwhile doing it. If it just stops one person from getting to the stage 4, of cancer, and it's probably easier to do than than you realise. So anyway, let me go back to the beginning of 2021 where it started, because if you know me, if you don't know me, I'm an ambulance driving instructor, and I work teaching people to drive ambulances for the NHS, which I love, absolutely love my job. And one day we do these rest stops, we swap drivers over, and I went to take a pee, as we do, and I noticed that my stream was taking longer and longer. And I thought nothing of it really, thought it was a bit strange. And then a few days later, it did it again. Didn't really think much of that either. I thought, then I started waking up in the night, needed to go to the toilet, but not really being able to go. Like, had this urge to go, but there wasn't the force of going for a week. And this kept occurring over a number of weeks. And then I started getting a few twinges in my lower back, and progressively getting a little bit worse as the weeks went on. The twinges then started to radiate down my right side. So, being in the ambulance service with people that work for the ambulance service, people were giving me exercises to do and say, it sounds like sciatica. I went to a doctor. In fact, I didn't go to a doctor. I spoke over the phone. He said, sounds like you got sciatica, Woody. And he asked me to come in. And he did a rectal exam. I didn't actually understand what he was doing. He was just saying, I'm just checking your PSA, your prostate. I didn't know why. Okay, fair enough. It wasn't very pleasant, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. They said everything seems fine, sent me away, and then he sent me to have an osteopath, to go to an osteopath. And meanwhile, the pain level was increasing and increasing and increasing, and I mean, it's off the scale pain. Where I was dosing up with painkillers at work, I was luckily enough able to do my job, but in between drives, I was on the floor in agony, and I thought, this can't go on. This cannot go on. And one morning I woke up, I found that my leg, my whole body, I couldn't move. I was on the floor. My to move was like I was breaking my back. That's how it felt. I phoned 999, tried to get an ambulance. I didn't know. My wife was panicking. I said, I can't move. I'm in terrible agony. I was put through where I had to describe exactly what was wrong with me, and an ambulance arrived 6 hours later. During those 6 hours, I was just in terrible pain. I had to go to the toilet. I couldn't stand up. I had to pee in the shower, crawl over to the shower. This is how I was. I was given Entonox, which makes you happy. I started being what I am. I started joking with the ambulance crew. They took me downstairs, managed to get me down, and left me at the bottom of the stairs on my couch, and told me to keep moving. That's all it is. Just keep moving. It will free itself. And I was given a prescription for some painkillers, stronger painkillers, Solpadeine, I think it was. And I was kind of left there, and I thought, oh great, this is good. It's all cleared up. And then only took about 10 minutes after the Entonox worn off, I was back to square one. However, I managed to get across the room. I was going from chair to chair, but the agony to doing that was terrible. And what I had to do is it was like learning to walk again. Walking up and down the room was a mission. Walking out into the garden was a mission. But I tried to persevere with it and keep it moving like they told me. I did go to work the next week. Unfortunately, I was based about an hour and a half from where I live. And by the time I got to work each day, I was pretty much shot to pieces. I was in agony. I managed to do the week. And then on the Sunday, at the end of that week, I went into A&E. My wife took me up to A&E, so I had enough of this. You've got to go in A&E. And I was in really, really bad pain. Really, really bad pain. I was sat on a chair for 3 hours. I couldn't move. I didn't know what to do. I was crying. It was terrible, you know. I don't think I've got a great pain threshold, but this was something that I never would wish on my worst enemy. And I was taken in, and they was trying to check why I was in so much pain, and eventually I had to do a blood test. They suspected that I had gallstones. That's why they thought I was in so much pain. They were giving me morphine and all sorts of things to try and it took a few doses of morphine to settle me down. I stayed in overnight, and I was sent home again. I was called up to the hospital. I had to come back to the Tuesday to do another blood test, and I also had to do an MRI, which I'd done. And then a few days later, I was asked to come in the hospital again, and again this was to go and see someone about my back. Unfortunately, I didn't really understand what the guy was talking about. His English wasn't very good, and me being me, I didn't have a clue what was wrong with me, so I didn't really try and push it. So I left the hospital that time, and I remember walking around the car park crying because I was in so much pain, and I didn't know. I just wanted to end this pain, this constant pain, and then I got a phone call from the hospital that asked me to come back in, and they asked me where I was. I said, I'm in the car park. I said, I'm in agony still. They said, can you come back in? Went back to the reception, and I was met by two nurses who took me to a room, and kind of like trod on eggshells around me, never told me anything. They just said, we're concerned about your MRI and your blood test result, and we'd like to just keep you in. Never mentioned cancer until I was wheeled into the Macmillan Cancer Ward, where my heart, my head, everything flipped and cartwheeled around, and I suddenly realised I've got cancer. Shit, I've got cancer. It's me. I don't have cancer. That's for someone else. We don't expect ourselves to get cancer. I then went through radiation therapy on my spine, which was the reason I was in so much pain was I had two cracked vertebrae, two fractured vertebrae, and the compression on my spine. And during all that, I was going to see an osteopath who was twisting me in all sorts of positions. And that was it. I knew I had cancer. And a few weeks later, I found out how bad it was. I found out that it metastasized. Never heard of the word metastatic. It means it's jumped from the original place, which is the prostate, and it's jumped. It's gone into other parts of my body. Metastasized, which then becomes incurable. Well, to find that out was awful. I'm making this video because I don't want anyone else to go through this. And if I can stop one person going through it, that'd be good. That'll be amazing. Because if I rewind this video back to the beginning and start off where I first went into the toilet and noticed that the stream of my urinating was not right, I would have been banging on. I would, if anyone has that, they have to go to see the doctor straight away. I didn't know all this stuff. I used to see a few adverts about prostate cancer. Well, Sky Sport used to do a lot about it. I never really took any notice of it. Thought it's an old man's disease. I didn't realise that the mid-50s is kind of like the flashpoint for this. I didn't know it affected 1 in 4 black men, 1 in 8 white men, and 1 in 13 Asian men. This is huge. There's no knowledge about it, or I don't think there's enough, or I think that as men we tend to just bury our heads in the sand and get on with life because we are supposed to be tough and brave, and we're supposed to support our wives and children and not have anything wrong with us and not ask for help. And that was my downfall. I didn't ask for help. I just carried on as normal. Things got worse and worse until that point where I was in the cancer ward. And yeah, well, if only I could go back to that day when I noticed. If only. If I had noticed that, knowing what I know now, I would have got a PSA test the very next day. I know doctors say that we shouldn't take PSA tests because of certain reasons. It doesn't always. However, mine would have revealed that I'd had cancer. I'm no doubt about that. Because by the time I got a test, it was at 288, and normal range is 0 and 3. Prostate specific antigen, that's what it stands for, PSA. So that's what this video is about. Don't be me. Don't stick your head in the sand, okay? The other side of the story is that I'm now a year and a half on, and I'm living life normally as such, apart from monthly treatment that's ongoing. And so there is that hope, and there is that thing about this cancer that perhaps isn't so. It's not. I wouldn't say it's kind in any way, but this kind of cancer is not like other types of cancer. There's more of a light at the end of the tunnel than there is with many others. Okay. However, if it's caught early, you have a very, very, very good chance of just living a normal life and probably not dying of prostate cancer, dying of something else with having this inside you. But caught early, it can be managed, and most people, when it's caught early, will survive it. Most people. There's not many cancers like that. So in that respect, it is kind in that way, but it's not kind if you've got it at stage 4 and you have to go through the stuff that we have to go through. That's not kind. But even so, even then, if you've got it at stage 4, life hasn't ended. Believe me, life has not ended for you. There is more and more life for you. It's not a death sentence as such. It's a wake-up call that you've got to change your life. You change the way you live. I changed the way I've lived. I don't eat junk food. I eat vegan food. I don't drink caffeine, alcohol. Occasionally I might have a glass of beer, a glass of wine. You got to live. You got to live. But I'm having really, really good results. Things are going well. The tumours in my back are still shrinking. Even after that year, they're still getting smaller. I'm in less pain. I'm still in some pain, but my pain's managed, and I can live a really normal life. So there is that side of it as well. Please don't think that you're looking at this video that that's it. That's the end. If you've got prostate cancer, it certainly is not. But the main thing about this video is that you don't want to go through those first 6 months that I went through. You don't want to be the person that has this excruciating pain, because it really is not nice. And if you're watching this video, you now know that you can prevent that happening if you just pay attention to what your body's telling you. Your body is telling you that something's going on that's different. Get yourself checked out. Okay? Don't be me. Right. I'm off now, and I'm going to go and have a great day. And whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a great day too. Take it easy. Bye.